he said that. Yes, with age comes wisdom, and you're like, wow, like that's just bull. But then when you think about it, like, but wow, that actually does make total sense. In hindsight, it makes total sense. I can't be too mad at the end of the day because we do understand, with age comes wisdom. So yeah, even I said, there are times that I wish that I didn't wish when I was younger to grow up so quick, but at the same time, what I've learned then from what I learned now that I didn't know then, I really wish I do get to go back and tell myself like, oh no, don't worry about this and don't worry about that. These things are gonna happen, those things are gonna happen, but you're gonna learn from them. These are just experiences you have to go through, um, not just as a man, but as an adult, um, because that's one of the experiences that you don't get as a kid because there are things that happen to you as a child that is unique to children, and so it is wise to understand that, but it's also wise that there are things you're not going to be able to experience because there are places you can't go and things you can't do. And until you are able to do them, then you will never have the full experience that you want. Um, but you will receive certain benefits in the meantime, like I said, because there are benefits that come with being childlike and understanding that and taking advantage of that.
Yeah. With age comes wisdom, and that's the main point that we need to not forget that you know older people used to be young. That's the thing. They because life is like a game, so the game of life. So they literally played the game way longer than we did, and they definitely leveled up a lot. And the thing is to try to get as much from them as possible before they're no longer in the game,
Mm.
right? They're veterans, so give them the respect that they deserve, that they have value that they can share. And that's the thing. Most people, young people specifically, they view older people as being valueless, being less than them. So they have a habit of looking down on them, which is, you know, a sign of ignorance. True sign of youth is being ignorant to the realities of the world just because you haven't been here long enough to realize the truth. And then when you do realize the truth, that's when you realize that you were ignorant. And then you have so much to learn, and then you start seeking knowledge. But you really want to seek knowledge and wisdom at a young age, because youth and wisdom is very rare. It's very rare to be young and wise, to have thousands of years of experience but only be in your 20s. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? To have the mind of a 50-year-old while you're in your 20s is a very powerful thing to have, because now you have time and knowledge, which means you can take advantage of that time that you have, that extra time you have to do things. There's people who are currently 60 years old that have a lot of great knowledge, but they don't have enough time left in their life to be able to use all that knowledge they have. They spent years accumulating that knowledge, but now they can't implement all of it because they don't have that much time. Now, if they can live longer than that, they would. If we were immortal, we could live for 1,000 years. I mean, just think about it. Imagine 200 years of knowledge, right? Or 300 years, or 500 years of knowledge. Just imagine what you would know, what kind of person you would be, what you'd be capable of if you lived that long, if you had that much knowledge. That's why it's unfortunate when somebody in their 20s sees somebody in their 50s and then looks down at them like, oh my God, that person's such a loser. That person ain't doing nothing, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you don't know what they've done. They've probably done, a million things when they were your age. And instead of understanding that, you wanna view them as if you do more than they do. It's like, no, you don't. You do less. Especially nowadays with everybody with smartphones. The kids nowadays, you see them on their phones for hours and hours. It's like, well, you're definitely doing nothing. No, man, I'm on the internet. I'm doing this and that. I'm talking to this person. I'm talking to that person. Like, yeah, you're doing a lot of talking, which is not the same thing as doing a lot of things. Talking is cheap. Dun, dun, dun. Get it? Right? Talk is cheap. Actions, you know, are the things that are valuable. You know, it's not, it's what you do that defines you, not what you say. And the problem is, there's too many people out here wasting time trying to define themselves through words. It's like, no, your actions speak louder than your words. You know, you want people to think you're awesome, then do awesome shit. Don't say you're awesome or try to convince people with words that you're awesome. Like, no, let your actions speak for it. Let your accolades achieve something so people can say you're awesome for that thing you achieved. You know, even sometimes I gotta remember that. Sometimes I gotta remember it's like, yeah, not many people know the things that I do. Not many people can see the my contributions. So sometimes I gotta toot my own horn, as to say. I gotta brag a little bit from time to time, promote the fact that I've done things, that I've solved stuff. Like I've worked on some math problems and I came up with some solutions, and made some videos about it and posted online. So I've been promoting that stuff lately. So a lot of the stuff I've done, I've promoted, so that way more and more people get to see it, more people get to understand it. Hey, I did some stuff, and this stuff is useful. It benefits the world if the world, pays attention and and looks for this types of information. I put it out there. So that's why it's important to respect your elders. I'm getting older, wiser. I'm doing more. And, I'm not gonna be here forever. So while I am here, I'm gonna do the best I can to solve as many problems as I can while I'm here. That's why, I said it's important to respect your elders, because your elders, you gotta remember, they are your future. Someday you will be them, and you want to make sure you have their knowledge as well as your own personal life experiences. Combine it, and you'll be a well-rounded person. You'll be a lot better, and you'll be better than them because you know what they know plus what you know. And then you are supposed to pass on that knowledge to the next generation. The idea is to always make the next generation better, right? To help them out, be better, live longer. Think about it. Think about how bad the future would be if people were selfish and kept knowledge to themselves. It's important to share information, knowledge, and wisdom with the next generation, so that way they can live a better life because of it. If everybody, stayed to themselves and be extra selfish, then knowledge doesn't get passed. And if knowledge doesn't get passed, then that means everybody's starting from scratch. So that everybody in the future will have to, try to learn the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s by themselves. Like they will have to reinvent the alphabets, reinvent, numbers. Like they will have to figure that out on their own if we stop sharing knowledge, we stop working with one another, stop helping one another. I mean, and that's just one scenario. The other scenario would be if there's nobody making babies, nobody's reproducing, then we're just gonna die off before that, before we lose all that knowledge, right? We'll lose it all at once because no new generations to pass the knowledge on, and once we start dying off, all our knowledge is coming with us. We're supposed to do our best to make sure the knowledge stays alive by keeping the human race alive. Because if not, we'll cease to exist, which means our knowledge and our achievements, our ups and downs will cease to exist, and it's as if we were never here, so it makes our existence worthless, pointless. Too many people overvalue their own lives and don't realize that someday you're not going to be here to, let people know that your life was amazing. No one's going to know that you even exist. No one's going to be aware that you did have an amazing life because there's no proof of it. There's no, because you no longer exist. That's why it's like, yes, be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for your life. always try to improve and do better, but don't forget that someday you will die. So your career that you spend so much time and effort trying to have and put so much effort that you start sacrificing other things like certain friendships, sacrifice having your own family, having kids and stuff like that, just so you can have this career. And then you forget that at some point you're not going to have that career no more. So that career is not going to matter no more. It's not going to matter to you. It's not going to matter to the human race or to the future. So it's like there's more important things in life than the things you think that are important. That's the thing. It's like it's okay for you to value certain things, for you to think certain things is important. No one said you can't. Have things that you value, things you think are important. But logically, you gotta understand that there's a lot that people do that really isn't that important. Like trying to impress people. Think about it, most people don't care. Most people aren't impressed. You'll do so much to try to get people to like you, and those people will still hate you. They'll pretend to like you, but ultimately they won't. Sometimes you get the opposite effect. You'll do something to try to impress somebody, to try to make somebody like you, but it inadvertently causes them to actually hate you. Because now they're like jealous, or they just hate that, you are trying to get them to like you, and it's like, well, they don't want to do that. It's like, I don't want to like you. You're not gonna make me like you. So then inadvertently they ended up hating you, which was the opposite. You wanted them to like you, but now they hate you. So the paradox of that. But yeah, man, the wisdom of older people, man. I definitely go out of my way to talk to some older people, to learn some stuff from them, and I definitely learned a lot of stuff, which definitely helps me out. This is why I watch videos, and I definitely like it when I do see somebody who is older making videos on the internet. It's like good. Now I can get that knowledge and experience from them. Especially if I could talk to them, it's extra epic because there's way more information I can get. Basically think of it like historic. I can get a lot of good historical information from older people, because they were there when stuff happened, as opposed to getting it secondhand or third hand or fourth hand from some young 18-year-old that's just trying to make quote unquote viral content. So all they're doing is saying stuff that they don't even understand. They're just saying it because they saw it on Wikipedia or something, and they're trying to act like they know about World War II as if they were there, but they weren't there. They just read it on Wikipedia. Like, I'm not impressed. It's like, good, you can read. But reading is not the same thing as knowing. It's not the same thing as of experiencing. It's not the same thing as of being there when shit was happening, Because the funny thing is, I saw a post not too long ago about the idea that kids right now in school is learning about 9/11, like in history class. So that right there lets you know how it definitely makes me feel old. I'm like, oh shit. Because I was in school when 9/11 happened. So the fact that now kids are in school in history class learning about 9/11 because it's their history. But for me, it was my life. It was part of my life. So it's like, it's part of my past. For them, it's history. For me, it's past. So it's like, damn, it wasn't even that long ago. It was only, like, 15 years probably ago when 9/11 happened. 21, if I'm right, because it was 2001. So it's like 21 years ago. So still, 21 years. Doesn't seem like a long time ago, but it's still long enough for it now to be labeled as historical fact. So the fact that I'm alive to hear about that, to hear that kids are learning about the history that I was involved in. And 10, 20 years from now, there's, it's gonna, this pandemic, the coronavirus situation and global warming and Elon Musk, trying to go to Mars and stuff. Starlink, all these things are going to be also historical facts. So just remember, everything you're doing now It's going to be part of history at some point in time. So make sure you do stuff that's worthy of, you know, being, you know, recorded in the history books, as they say. That's why it's important to learn from your elders, because they were there. Instead of trying to learn about the past through books, Wikipedia pages, and YouTube videos, learn from actual people. Knowledge is power. That has always been true and continues to be true.
Yeah. We gotta value it one way or the other. Well, it seems like we don't in society, and a lot of that is just sad, because it's like, if we did value that knowledge as much, I think it would be very beneficial. Because then we'd have a complete understanding of why the elders are some of the most important in our society, really. Why we should value their knowledge heavy and understand that it is very much necessary that we have access to that knowledge. We should be seeking to gain more access, but that's for another thing. Like, people are gonna feel how they feel, but I think that looking towards our elders, especially knowing what we know now, it would be very essential for one to say, or to get the idea of, if I have access to that knowledge, if I could just gain, what that person knows, I think it'll be very beneficial for me, because in the long run, I can take that and I can apply it to situations in my life, and I can use it to better my life and use it to improve. But people gotta want things like that, though. That's the crazy thing. People gotta want things like that. And nowadays, it's just a lot of the youngins, they don't want it. And I think it's sad. It's a sad hindrance that we have to, I guess, accept as a society, that that's what it's come to.
I agree with accepting the idea. You have to understand it. It's more about understanding that that's the current state of the world, and then try to fix it, because we know it's just going to be a slippery slope. I don't want people to, do the whole accepting thing, like, oh, we accept that this is how it is. The whole, it is what it is. That's something funny I see on the internet a lot, the idea of that expression, it is what it is. And like, sometimes that applies. It's like, yeah, things happen. It is what it is. Can't do much about it. But a lot of people say so much, and they try to apply it to a lot of different things. And it's like, no. It is a problem, and there are solutions. So let's focus on the solutions and solve the problem. Let's not accept things as is. Just like there's people trying to accept people who are handicapped. People who have mental issues, right? There was even a thing. I don't think it was an actual thing, but I saw it on the internet. It was the idea of like stating that pedophilia, for example, is a sexual preference, and some other shit like that. It's like, no, let's stop trying to, accept things. Let's stop trying to be like, you know what, this is just something that exists in life, and there's nothing to do about. There's nothing that can be done, so we'll just let it be. It's like, no, we can't accept that. No, we shouldn't be accepting everything. Oh, look, there's a war going on. Okay, let it happen. No, if we can stop it, we should. Oh, these people here are racist, but it's okay. I mean, that's their opinion. We'll accept it. No, we do not need to accept it. we can understand it is what I agree with, but I don't agree with accepting it. Accepting it means we're condoning it. We're agreeing that it's a-okay because we're not opposing it. So accepting it is the opposite of opposing it. That's why I don't agree with accepting it. Just like the whole trophy thing, participation trophy. Everybody gets a trophy. It's like everybody's a winner. It's like no, those are losers. The winner is the one who actually won the foot race. Not everybody else who came in last, who came in after that person. No, they're not winners. They're losers. They're losers now. Next time it'll be their turn to be the winner. Everybody can have turns being the winner by putting in effort. That's the way it's supposed to be. This person's the winner this time. Somebody else would be the winner next time. The problem is the idea of like, no, we don't want people's feelings to get hurt. It's like no one's feelings should be getting hurt, and if their feelings are getting hurt, they need to fix that. They need to get their mind right. They need to get into the habit of not getting their feelings hurt. We're not supposed to shelter their feelings and try to prevent their feelings from being triggered, thinking that that's a good solution, that helps. No. They need to know how to deal with their feelings, deal with stuff. It's the same thing as like if you're poor, you need to know how to deal with it. How to hopefully rise above it. Don't accept being poor. Right? You could do better, especially regardless if you're the reason you're poor or because of circumstances you're poor, you should always do better regardless. But but in the scenario where it's not your fault that you're poor because of circumstances, you can always rise above the circumstances. You could always, the whole started from the bottom, now we're here. So it's like you can always do better. And that's what you should be doing, is better. Don't limit yourself because, of your circumstances, your situation, and be like, oh, this is my life for the rest of my life. It's like, no, this is your current situation. This is not your whole entire life, so you can do better. You can improve. You can make your life better. This is why you listen to your elders. This is why you look for a mentor. You look for somebody who's older than you, because there's a high mathematical probability they know more than you. And they more likely have all the answers you could possibly ever want and need, so you can do better in your life. Because they probably, made the same mistakes you've made, and they learned from it, so now they can teach you the better way, the right way. Because as much as people want to believe that their life is super unique, that no one else can ever understand their problems or understand them as a person, that has been proven historically for over thousands of years to not be true. That people of the past had the same problems that we currently have now. They came up with solutions in the past, and ironically, we are now coming up with the same solutions that they came up with, whether it be exactly the same or similar. So it proves that regardless of time, we're going to have the same problems, which means there are also going to be the same solutions. That's another thing. Every problem has a solution, so don't assume that your problems are unsolvable. They're not unsolvable. You just haven't solved them yet.
It's funny because more people look to the problem and less people are starting to look to solutions, and that's funny. Like I started to notice a lot of people do that nowadays. So like I think people should try to look more towards solutions, uh, be more solution based. That would be nice. But I mean, with the society we live in, I can see why people are focused on the problems and they shouldn't be. But then you can't force people to be what they're not going to be. So the best thing you can do is just do what you got to do.
Yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Mm.
You know, that's the thing is it's desire. Because sometimes we get into the ironic situation where somebody will complain about something. They'll be like, you know, like they'll complain that they don't have money. They want to be rich, and then you'll give them the advice so they can achieve that goal. It might not be the perfect solution, well, according to their opinion anyway, but it is a solution. It is at least an idea of how they could, they can resolve their issue. But from our experience, we noticed that people just prefer the issue. Like it's like they prefer to have the problem than to have a solution. Like we'll give them a solution to a problem, and then they'll act like the solution it is a problem. They'll try to make it seem like it's a problem that we gave them a solution to their problem. It's almost like, how dare you presume to know the solutions to my problem? It's like the idea of thinking, well, if I couldn't solve my own problems, definitely no one else should be able to. So the fact that somebody would even say like, "Hey, I have a solution to your problem," and then they share their solution, and then somebody will react as if like, "No, you shouldn't be able to solve my problem. It's my problem. Only I can solve it." And that's definitely delusional to think that only you can, solve your own problems. But a problem is a problem. If your problem is you don't have enough money, well, there's probably somebody else out there that has the solution to that, which is how to make more money. Because literally, you'd be in a scenario where there's somebody that lives with you. You use the internet to, find a job or something. Like, let's say you go on the internet and you fill out applications, and then you finally found a job, which was great. But then you have somebody living in the house with you who had the same amount of time as you, who knew that you were on the internet looking for a job. But then they'll act like, oh, finding a job is hard. How? How is it hard? We literally have a way of doing it. I found a job, so how could you not find one?
Mm-hmm.
You have access to internet like I do. You have no excuses for not having a job other than you just didn't put in the effort. Because you literally have the same resources I do. You have access to the internet. You knew I was looking for a job. So it's not like the idea of looking for a job wasn't a thing. It's like, clearly you saw that I was using the internet to find a job. And then you saw that I found one. So it's like, you think you put two and two together. Right? So that's why it's annoying to see that somebody will be literally in the same situation as you, but then act like it doesn't equal the same results you got, even though they were in the exact same situation. Now I agree, results can vary, but that's because it depends on the efforts, right? Results may vary. Because, for example, I applied to a McDonald's to work overnight. I didn't get the job.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, one of my sister-in-laws, it was Melanie, she applied to that McDonald's and she got a job. So the moral of the story is that they were looking to hire a female for the position, which is why they didn't give me the job. Because from what they messaged me is that they're not hiring, but then they hired her, which is proof that it was a lie that they're not hiring. The truth is they're not hiring me because I'm a male, because I'm a guy, but they did hire her because she's a female. Now think about it, I'm Latino and she's Latina, so we both speak Spanish. So it wasn't that she speaks Spanish and I don't, so they picked her over me. Like no, we both equally qualify for the position. We're both Hispanic. You know, we both can work. We're both available for the same time frame. So either one of us could have got the job. The difference was obviously the gender. She was female, I was male. That is the only difference between me and her. Because we both can do the jobs. You know. So, and then, you know, and that's the point there. It's like, okay, we're in the same situation. We both need to work. We both applied to the same place. But because, you know, circumstances, right? She got it, I didn't. But at least I can't say, oh, I didn't try, or this and third. It's like, no, we both tried. She got it, I didn't. Hey, shit happens. But at least I tried. But there's some people that won't try. And then complain that they didn't get no results. It's like, oh, I didn't get a job because you weren't trying to. You know what I mean? You never succeed. You always fail at things you never try. You always fail if you don't try. It's better to try and fail than to have never tried at all. That's one of the things that's missing in modern day society. There's a lot of people who have because we always say the idea of equal opportunities. Like, yes, equal outcomes is not. You shouldn't expect equal outcomes, but equal opportunities definitely, and we're all for it. You know, we believe in, you know, equal opportunity for both men and women, but we do not agree with equal outcomes because that makes no sense. Right, that's essentially like a participation trophy. That's like 10 people start a race and then they all win. It's like, no, one's supposed to win, not all of them. So something went wrong here. You know, you're supposed to have winners and losers. That's usually how that goes.